What were some of the hardest parts for you to film? Or for you to even like read when it came to who Jules is and like the exploration of her character? Like, was there any scene that you were like, okay, I'm kind of scared to do this? Or you had to, I mean, obviously you have to get really vulnerable, but.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the kitchen scene was really, that was a hard day. Not only because it's like a rough scene for Jules, but it's also, I was also like still feeling like really, really new to acting. And I think I was like really nervous about like being able to deliver. And like, I don't know, I still had some imposter syndrome at this point as far as like being a new actor among like all these like really experienced people. And so I like locked myself in my hotel room all day and like listened to Frank Ocean and Serpent with Feet. And like basically by the end of the day, and we shot this at like 2 a.m, I was exhausted and then was like even more terrified of like being able to do what I felt like I needed to do for this scene. But Jacob like has been amazing scene partner and like gives himself to every single scene, and it's just I admire him as an actor so much. And so I think like just actually letting it play out was, yes, terrifying, but also I don't know, so that was a hard one. And then I don't know, I think as the series like progressed and we kept filming and everything started to feel more real, I think the entire cast can agree that like the lines between what was real and what wasn't like got blurry. We filmed this for 8 months, so it got a little confusing, but in some ways it made it easier because everything felt more real and more like visceral. So
I mean, like you said, your first time acting, Jacob's been, I mean, everybody knows him from like Kissing Booth, obviously, amazing. But there are a lot of people that this is like their big break, and then there are other faces that we've seen before. What has that been like for you? Like, is there any mentor-mentee kind of situation going on set? Or like, how did this whole blended family come together?
Yeah, I mean, I think just having to film something like this project together and be that vulnerable in front of each other like brings anyone together pretty quickly. Just because I don't know, like in some ways, like some of my closest friends haven't seen me in the states that I've had to be in on set, you know? So I mean, just to have to kind of expose yourself like that in front of everybody, like everybody's seen each other like at their best, at their worst, so that brings everyone together. And then also I think we got really lucky because there truly is not like a bad apple on this cast. Like everyone is just, I don't know, like such a sweetie. And
there's nobody you're voting off the island.
No, absolutely not.
One of my favorite things also about Jules is that, I mean, she's such a free spirit. And I think for her narrative, it's particularly interesting because we've seen so much in the past, like when you have this person who is struggling with like their gender identity, there seems to be one narrative for trans characters, and this has completely broken the mold. Why do you think like this was the perfect opportunity to do it? Why do you think audiences are ready for it? And like, do you feel a burden being the person at the center of that? Because I'm sure a lot of people are like, this is historic. We see this trans character who's not just coming right out and saying like, this is who I am. Like there are some cues, but you kind of like have to figure it out. And out of the bunch, she seems to be the most secure in who she is and has to just deal with some external drama.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of my like favorite things about her is that that's resolved, and I think it just allows her to have issues outside of that, and I think it like is a worry that we can fall into the same storyline sometimes, because a lot of the times it's like cis people in the writing rooms and like cis people making the decisions, and I think like a lot of minorities can agree that like oftentimes their like systematic oppressors might only see them being able to tell a specific kind of story, and so like just having like, or being allowed to move beyond that and like bring some truth in that, like trans people deal with everyday things and things that cis people deal with. And while transness may affect the way you move throughout the world, we're more complex than that. And so I don't know, I just feel like really lucky and that I really enjoyed telling this story, and yeah.
That's awesome. And how have audiences responded to Jules's character?
It's kind of been a roller coaster, I think, because I think everyone liked her a lot at first, especially after the kitchen scene. They were like, yes, like
she's a badass.
Yeah. And then now Jules is getting some flack because Jules is stressed out, and things are complicated, and I don't want to like give spoilers, but yeah, from what I've seen, I think people are a little more like, okay, she needs to get her mess together, like just because it's affecting the people around her too. So we'll see where that goes.
When you guys were filming, did you read the entire season? Because like even downstairs where, you're saying like everything's so complicated. There are a million questions. Like even with you, like I want to know what's going on in Jules's head with her relationship with Rue. And then Nate is a whole other mess. And like, God bless, I don't know what's going on there. So like, did you have those same questions as you were going through and filming, or did you guys know how it all wrapped up at the end of the season?
No, we were getting episodes all the way up until like, I think we got the final draft for 8, like the same week that we started shooting it, or something really close like that. So, and we were they would kind of drop them as we kept moving throughout the season. So we were in suspense the entire time. And then I think it's also kind of cool that it like played out that way. Like he was writing as we were still making it, because when we actually film the scenes, they might turn out like different than the way Sam was anticipating. And that's another like really cool way that Sam works, is that, he's really open to whatever is happening, whether it's like happening within the chemistry of the characters or whatever, like he's down to just like see what happens. And so I think, that was really cool, in that, I think the story morphed in ways that even he wasn't expecting as we were filming. So, yeah.
And then you touched upon it a little bit, but family and friends watching the show, what is that like?
It's cool. I'm really proud of this project, and like, and so obviously it's important to me, and yeah, it was a little scary. Like,
you like run out of the room or anything?
Yes, I don't like watching some of this stuff like with anybody. But yeah, I think like with my parents, like I told them even before I like got the role that I was auditioning for something, and it was a little explicit, and but it's a cool story, and then so like actually having them see it, I think they were prepared at this point, and as prepared as they could be, I think witnessing it is a different thing.
You weren't even prepared doing it. So.
Yeah. So yeah, it's scary, like being that vulnerable with everyone who's watching it, I guess. But I don't know.
I mean, the show itself is like scary.
Yeah.
Like there are parts where like I don't know how to explain it to some people. Like some of my friends, I'm like, you have to watch it, and they're like, is it scary? I'm like, no, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like horror, but I mean, it's kind of scary in that it
it's so real
blocks
too.
people. Yeah.
And then going forward, where would you like to see Jules go?
Like for this season?
Well, yeah, or next.
Yeah.
Without any spoilers, obviously.
Yeah. I'm a Rule shipper.
Okay.
Like
I didn't even know Rule was a thing.
Rules.
Like I didn't hear about that. Okay, I'm
it's our
behind.
ship name. Rue and Jules. Yeah. I'm a Rule shipper, and you know, I would hope to see more of that. But then also I need Jules to like, I don't know, like I want bad things to happen to Nate, and I wouldn't have a problem with Jules being the perpetrator of those bad things. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. That's just like from my perspective on where we're at right now. That's what I'll say.
Are you allowed to be a Rule shipper?
Yeah.
As you, but like that, it's kind of like bias.
Z is a Rule shipper too.
Okay. Now we know what's going on.